Hi, my name is Jeremy Hess with Akeyless, and in this video, we're going to learn how to install and configure the Remote Access Bastion in order to enable secure access to applications. Akeyless Vault Platform's secure remote access solution, which sits on top of the Akeyless Vault platform, enables seamless end-to-end connectivity directly to any resource or application you have access to, regardless of your physical location, and with just-in-time dynamic or rotated secrets. Users connect securely to resources using their identity provider, either via the web-based portal, where they are shown a list of only the resources they have access to, or by using the built-in Akeyless Connect command for secure CLI access using short-lived certificates, which I'll demonstrate in the next video. All this uses our granular role-based access controls, so users can only log into resources they have access to through the Akeyless Bastion. Akeyless also provides full session management with auditing and agentless recording capabilities, which can forward system logs to your log management solution. Let's take a look at a practical example. When a user who only has list access to secrets requests to connect to a database, they authenticate against their identity provider and request access via the Secure Remote Access Bastion, which passes that request through the Akeyless Gateway, which in turn requests the ephemeral credentials for the database, and at the same time opens a secure session of the database and automatically logs in that user with the temporary credentials it received. The user then has a specific amount of time to work until the session is terminated. So let's get into seeing how we actually install and configure the Secure Remote Access Bastion. So getting started, we go back to our docs, of course, click on the Infrastructure Components dropdown, choose Secure Remote Access Bastion. So some prerequisites as usual. In this case, we're going to need Helm installed. You're going to have Kubernetes installed somewhere, a cluster, and an SSH certificate issuer for CLI access, which I will show as well, and some other minimum requirements. There are some network storage and auto-scaling details here that you can read for more advanced configuration. And let's go ahead and install the Helm chart to get started. So if I go ahead and copy this, go into our terminal, paste that in. It's going to show us that the Akeyless repo already exists because I've used it in a previous video. And then it went and updated Helm. So the next thing we need is a values file, which we're going to use in order to spin up the correct Secure Remote Access Bastion. And we need to put in specific information into that values file. So if we go ahead and just choose that little item to copy that command, we are going to download. So now you've downloaded the values YAML file into our downloads folder. So if we open it up with your editor of choice, we go ahead and see a bunch of information here, which we're going to need to edit a few things in order to get the right configuration. So let's go ahead and follow a little bit what we need. So the first thing we're going to need is the Docker repository credentials. That is something that only enterprise clients will be able to access because this is a paid option. So we are also going to need an API gateway URL. That's the URL of your gateway, which you are probably intimately familiar with at this point. So if we go ahead back to our file and we go to edit it, okay, paste that in, and it should be port 8080. The next thing we're going to do is come down to the privileged access section. And what we're going to do here is add in one of our authentication methods, which will have read and list permissions. And that's because the allowed access ID, the regular user that is going to be using the Secure Remote Access Bastion to access their applications remotely, only needs to have list access privileges, and the privileged access ID will be the one that will give the proper permissions in order to read those secrets as well. So this allows for much more secure access between users in order to have access to their applications. So if we go ahead back to our console, we'll go ahead and grab this authentication method. It's an IAM authentication method. Paste that in here. And the next thing we're going to do is add allowed access IDs, and this is going to be for any user that is going to have list access to the Secure Remote Access Bastion. So I'm going to go ahead and show here inside of the console what that looks like. I have a user, and this, let's say, is the user, the dev group. It's a SAML authentication method, which I created. And before we continue, I'll show that in the allowed redirects, we need to make sure that we enable our Zero Trust portal. This is what the login looks like for the Zero Trust portal. So we need to add that URL in order for it to be given proper access along with other configuration that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and add this redirect, zerotrust.akeyless.io with a question mark and the star. Okay, so we need that in our authentication method as well. And I can go ahead and copy this now, and I'll add it to the allowed user, basically allowed access IDs, the allowed users for this secure mode access bastion. The next thing we need to do is go down towards the bottom, and we're going to find the section for our CA public key. We need to add the CA public key in order to have native CLI access. So let's go ahead to back to our console. Now, the CA public key in this case is going to be a key that I created in order to create my SSH certificate issuer, which you can see in a previous video. So if I click on this sign-in key and I get the public RSA key from here, I can copy this version of the key, and I can go ahead and paste it in here. So that is all the information that you're going to need for basic setup of the Secure Mode Access Bastion. Since we're done with that, we can go ahead and save it and quit. And once you have that done, you can go back to the docs here, and we can go ahead all the way to the bottom here. And what we're going to go ahead and do is install the Secure Mode Access Bastion using the helm install command and the values file that we just set up. So if I grab that, copy it, paste it in here, we'll just go ahead and call this SRA Bastion. And what it's going to do is go ahead and deploy the Bastion. So now that we have it deployed, if we do kubectl get pods, we're going to see that we have the SSH SRA Bastion and the web SRA Bastion. And we're going to understand that a little bit more later. And right now they are spinning up. So we're going to give that a couple of minutes. And while that's spinning up, one of the things that I want to do is explain very quickly about our SSH certificate issuer and some details that we need to know. So in order for the Secure Mode Access Bastion to work properly, we're going to have to enable secure mode access for the SSH certificate issuer. At the same time, we need to add a user in the allowed users. And what we're going to add here is session _ star. The next thing we'll do is enable secure mode access from here. And when we enable this, this is going to allow an application, an SSH application from the Bastion to work. And we need to add a host in here by default. So it doesn't matter which host you add, but basically it's any host that you want to have SSH access to from the Secure Mode Access Bastion. So you have to add in one, and then you go ahead and save it, and now that's the start of Secure Mode Access. Let's go back now, check on the pods here. Okay, we see that they are both running. So now let's go ahead and show how we would set up the login for a user. So if I go back to my authentication methods and I find the dev group authentication method, copy that, I'm going to head over to our portal, zerotrust.akeyless.io, put in the access ID here. We're going to add our gateway here as well. And we're going to add in the web Bastion URL. And we do that by going to our terminal, running kubectl get service, and we will find the web SRA Bastion external IP here. So we grab that, and we'll paste it in here. And what we do is click sign in. But before you do that, what we can do is click on the generate SAML bookmark URL button. and we can create a new bookmark where with that bookmark, you're able to directly log in. So I won't even save the bookmark, but I'll just show when you hit the bookmark, it will paste in all the information for how you're trying to access the Zero Trust portal. And you would hit enter, and then we have to first connect through Okta. This is where the user would connect when they log in. And once the user is connected, they will automatically be logged into their Zero Trust portal. So the user doesn't need to know any information. The user just needs to get their bookmark given to them. And with that bookmark, they can save it and they can simply log in each time to their secure remote access portal. And here, the only thing we see right now is the SSH app with the SSH login machine IP address that we created earlier with our target. So that's how we set up the secure remote access portal, the Bastion, as well as configure the basic elements to get started. And in the next video, we're going to learn how to add the Postgres application to our Bastion and access it from our Zero Trust portal in order to access it via the web as well as CLI. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.